Ladies and gentlemen, Ringside Society, the Wrestling Fans Podcast, proudly presents to you another fantastic episode of 15 Minutes of Fandom. During this episode, we pick one, yes, we mean one wrestling fan that stands out from the rest, and we have them on the show to interview them and talk about their love for wrestling, their experience that their experiences that they've had as a fan, and many other cool things as well. So with that being said, in the first corner we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And in the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go, catch him if you can, said his name in Guyana, now they love him in Japan. No cap, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a man who recently joined us on our AEW Full Gear 2021 predictions panel last Friday. And he's back at it again with us tonight for his own episode of 50 Minutes of Fandom, hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, the home of peach cobbler and soul food and southern hospitality. Everybody, welcome fellow podcaster and writer, not Scott Pilgrim versus the world, JB versus the world.
Woo! Love that intro. I need that on my YouTube channel. Good Lord. How y'all boys doing?
I'm good. I always say when my style is a little bit of Howard Finkel, a little bit of Road Dogg, some Justin Roberts, and then I just yell and hope, it sounds good. So it's nothing, I pretty much try over here.
Man, that was wonderful.
Yeah, man. Thanks. But hey, thank you for actually being back on our show, man. I mean, we know we had you on the last time, and we were it was for the prediction show. And normally how we do the prediction show is it's past 15 minutes of fandom guests that we bring back. But we were like, you know what? For one time, one of the few times we're gonna break that rule and just have somebody that hasn't been on 50 minutes of fandom yet on
Hey
our
man, I really
prediction
appreciate
show.
you
And we've
guys.
only done it one other time.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Man, I'm really appreciative for you guys having me on. I'm like really excited to be here.
Yeah, no problem. This is actually one of our favorite segments, and the reason why is because we get to interact with our fellow fans. I mean, if you would interview, we figured, hey, if we'll interview shocked Brock Lesnar guy and the guy that was like this when Undertaker lost, if we would interview angry Miz girl, um, crying CM Punk fan, we actually did interview the crying CM Punk fan. Shout out to Frank, really really great guy, and the guy that wore the Scooby Doo outfit in the AEW crowd, who we also end up interviewing. Shout out to Scooby. Then why not somebody like a JB versus the world? Why not somebody like uh, those wrestling girls, Queen PR and Krista B. I don't know if you ever met those young
Oh yeah,
ladies
shout out to
before.
them. They're great. Love their show.
Mm.
Shout out to them.
And a Ella J and many others. Why not interview those people as well? So this is one of the things that we actually enjoy doing because we're big on fan interaction. So we came up with this as well. Came up with this as well. And the funny thing is, Rob here actually started out as a guest on 50 Minutes of Fandom. I remember like yesterday, he actually contacted us and he was like, "Hey, y'all need any help?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. I mean, I like my circle small, and I don't." But I was like, you know what? Let me give him a chance because I was in that situation when I was knocking on somebody's door, and I wanted them to let me in to show that I belong, and he's done that. He actually reminds me of me when I first started several years ago, and now he's a referee. So yeah, man. So Yeah, we definitely enjoyed this. But how's everything over in your neck of the woods? How's everything in Atlanta, man?
Man, just like regular normal November Atlanta weather. Still warm a little bit. It ain't
Mm,
cold. The city still buzzed from the Braves winning the championship. Hawks in full swing. I'm saying Falcon season is whatever right now, but it's all good. Man, we getting dynamite here in December, so that's cool.
that's good, man. Hey, don't get it twisted, man. Y'all got oh man. I'm actually kind of jealous of ATL because y'all got aside from the Nightmare Factory, which if you ever get a chance, check it out. The Nightmare, that's where Cody Rhodes Wrestling's Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall's wrestling school. And many of their students have gone on to be on AEW Dark as well. And many of their students have gone on to be on our show too. Not trying to
Nice.
boast, but it's just, that's just how we roll. We like to interview the up and comers as well. And y'all got the Nightmare Factory. You got Wait, I think they call it Wrestling from Championship Wrestling from Atlanta or Wrestle Atlanta. I know on
Yeah,
Instagram, I know it's Wrestle Atlanta. You got WWA4, which is ran by Mr. Hughes, and you have what's the other one? I think it's called Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. And I'm like, yo, I definitely want to check out what the scene is in Atlanta, man. I got a lot of good things, man. And plus AEW's coming there, like, shoots. I got it good, man.
yeah. We got day one coming here on New Year's Day. Yeah,
Oh
that's gonna be
yeah.
fun
Day
too.
one
Yeah,
too.
definitely
Day
gonna be in the
one,
building for that.
yeah, man. Yeah. Atlanta definitely has a pretty solid base there. And yeah, so but I just gotta ask you, man, like, you know, what was the pay-per-view or the match, or who was that relative, that parent, that uncle, that aunt, that older cousin or older brother, older sister that dragged you in that room and said, "Hey, man, hey JB, you might want to check this out, man. You might like it."
Man, I remember the day, bro. It was SummerSlam 1995. The Undertaker versus Kama in the casket match, and that was my very first wrestling match. And I rooted for Kama, and he lost. And ever since that day, like the Undertaker was my guy. So day one against Taker. Ever since then, Taker was a Taker fan, and it was with my dad and my uncle. They were watching it ahead of time, and me and my brother just came in there and sat down because they had some good food. So we're like, man, they got the good food. Let's get some of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm Nigerian. They had some Nigerian food. I'm like, let's get some of that. So yeah, we sat down and it was on, and it was just a wrap from there.
Oh snap! So you from the land of the jollof rice, man. Hey, hey. So for those of y'all listening, and Rob, I don't know if you know this, but Rob, you probably know this. And yes, for those of y'all, Rob is the white guy that you actually bring that you always bring to the cookout. If you ever seen Boondocks, if you ever see, and like I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody's ethnicity. Y'all know that I love all race, all ethnicities and whatnot. But if you ever seen Boondocks, remember the part where you had the irresponsible teacher that made Huey, I think, or Santa Claus black? That's Rob.
Yeah,
Rob is that teacher right there. He'd get in trouble for that. I'm just messing with you, bro. Nah, but he cool peoples. But yeah. So if you for those of y'all listening, and if you're offended by that, my apologies. But if you ever want to start an argument with between a Nigerian and a Ghanaian, ask them which country has the better jollof rice, and I guarantee you will not hear the end of it. That's
I mean
like
they could argue about it all day, but it is what it is.
that's like I'm Guyanese and you got a Trinidadian, and they're gonna be like, it's curry chicken. No, it's chicken curry. They will start a whole argument on that. This time it's the same food but a different meaning. But yeah, that's that's cool, man. But Kama, back to the wrestling, man. Kama was definitely a cool person. It's funny because you mentioned that like I was rooting for Undertaker because I mean I respected Kama's fighting prowess, but I was like, nah, Undertaker got this. And then years later, you found that they were all friends, like him. the Godwins and Yoko. They're all part of the
Yokozuna.
BSK.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
they were all part of the BSK, and I was like, yo, they were tougher than the Click, man. Because I mean, I think that's the one crew that Shawn Michaels and them couldn't mess with because them
Nah,
boys were like they didn't play no games. Like you try any pranks on them, and they were like that was a wrap for you, man.
they gonna wrap them. They gonna wrap them fists up and come see about you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I believe they would because I mean, Kama or Godfather, whichever one you want to call him, Papa Shango. I heard he was a legitimate, like he could definitely kick some butt, like
Was he like a
legitimately.
boxer?
I don't know what he was, but I heard some rumors that Homeboy was not one that did not play. He did not play.
No.
And then you had Undertaker, and then you had Yokozuna, which, and I believe Yokozuna about that life because I could tell you right now, I am 5'9". Last time I weighed, I was 270 pounds. I'm a big dude, and every Samoan I've met has been bigger than me. So
Man,
yeah,
don't
I
want no
believe
beef with them.
yeah, like I'm
Like,
like I remember one time I met a this Tongan dude because Tongan Samoans they're all within that a Polynesian kind of like how Ghana, Jamaica, and Trinidad are. They're all within that area of culture. And I met a Tongan dude one time. It was I was in Japan. I was in Fukuoka, and I saw him. I was like, "Hey, bro," and we were like chatting up with one night, coconut joke. I'm like, "Hey, bro, where you from, man?" He's like, "I'm from Tonga." And I knew exactly where I was. I'm like, bro, I would hate to have to, I wouldn't fight you unless I needed to fight you with a high emphasis on need. Yeah.
like I would see a
Yeah.
Samoan on a football field, but in a fist fight, I would think three times.
Shoes. Yeah, man. Them boys don't play, man. But yeah, but so growing up, did you ever get to go to any of the events like WWF or WCW or well, I don't think
Yeah,
ECW ever went to Atlanta around that time, but did you ever get to go to any of those?
man. That was even though we don't have territories no more. WCW was like in Atlanta. Like WWF didn't come down and like on maybe like one occasion when I was a child, and definitely not until after WCW was acquired. But yeah, I went to a few events. I got to see the finger poke of doom live. I saw Goldberg win his first championship live. Um, there was another time I went. I forgot what was the major thing that happened there. It was just like a standard regular show there. But yeah, I went to WCW shows like whenever they came to town when I was younger. It was a good time. Do you remember Prince Ikea? Like he was one time. I remember this. When I was a child, we were standing in line for snacks, and he was standing right in front of me, and he was TV champion at the time. And I was like so geeked as a kid. I was like, when I told my dad, like, yo, that's TV chat right there. He said it right here, just in line. And he like turned around, shook our hands and stuff, and like it made my whole night. Another time I went, I ran into DDP on a random, like he was leaving the show. He was super nice then. I actually saw him again at Dragon Con a couple months ago here, and I was like, "Yo, I ain't seen you since I was like knee high to a grasshopper." So that was a pretty cool experience. But yeah, I loved going to WCW shows when I was younger. I didn't go to a WWF show until 2015 or so. But yeah, love WCW shows.
Yeah. Wow, that's actually amazing that you actually got to see the finger poke of doom live. So I gotta ask you. So you're the first person that we've ever had on this show that said they witnessed that live. What was the atmosphere of that crowd? Was it like outrage, or was it like the crowd chanting BS, BS, BS?
Man, all
Or
right.
were they chanting F you, F you Vince, as in F you Vince Russo? Like what was What was the atmosphere on that, man?
All right, so between that and Goldberg winning his first championship, those are the only times I was in the Georgia Dome that it was shaking. Like, it was like, and it was the first time I had ever been in a building where it was like it was shaking like an earthquake. You know what I'm saying? We don't get earthquakes out here, so it was like it was crazy for me as a kid. And so when Hogan came out and challenged him, we were like, "Oh, is that we gonna get this tonight?" And Hogan was wearing black that night. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, it was like, oh, it's not he coming out the woodwork. He coming for Kevin Nash, and the buildup with it was buzzing the whole show. So anytime those two were out, it was super loud in there. And when it happened, like the whole buildup, the buildup was shaking, and they were like, yeah. And then it turned into like a chorus of boos when it happened, throwing trash and people cussing, people leaving early, and just people just generally just being pissed off. And I'm like, even me as a kid, like I'm like, this ain't it, bro. I don't know what I witnessed, but I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? You a kid, you like everything, but nah, bro, that wasn't it. Hated it. It was a everybody went home with a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah, to me, like that was, in hindsight, I think that was the turning point of WCW just having a complete decline because after that, you had, okay, the NWO, I guess, came back together.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the No Limit Soldiers thing they tried to do, but that backfired because WCW's general audience is, they're country music fans. So you try to make country music bad. No, the fans actually like country music and they did not really care for rap. So that was a backlash on them. And then you had the whole creative control angle where you had Vince Russo. You knew it was his voice, but they just showed him in a chair and just his hands talking to whoever. And it was just, and then and then after that, okay, 1999 wasn't really that bad, but then 2000, you had Harlem Heat 2000. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, you don't need to make him Harlem Heat 2000. No offense to Ahmed Johnson, but you didn't need
Nah,
to
he
have
wasn't it.
that.
Offense or not, that wasn't
Offensive,
it.
that wasn't it. You had Midnight, who wasn't that good either. She could have used a bit more training. And I'm not one to talk, 'cause I'm not a wrestler, but I just think she could have used a bit more training and whatnot. And it was the only, to me, the only good thing that came out after that. One of the few good things that they could have worked on was the Natural Born Thrillers. I think they should have made that tag team the new up and coming heels because they had a lot of talent within that group. I mean, you had Mark Jendrak, Chuck Palumbo, all those other guys, and they could have done better with that.
I think they
But
just ran out of time with them. Like as
big
the
pardon?
company was being sold off, like they didn't have time to do anything.
Yeah, but on a finer note, that was the last days of WCW was when we got to see a young AJ Styles
Mm-hmm.
do his thing, and a lot
Gainesville's
of people,
greatest.
oh yeah, and a lot of people tend to forget that he started out in WCW too. Actually, we were even fortunate to have his tag team partner who debuted with him,
Hmm.
Air Paris, on the show too. You probably know Air Paris. Air Paris is like a popular name down there.
Yeah,
But we had him on the show. Great guy. Answered a burning question that I had, which was what happened after WCW? Because he was just as good as AJ Styles, in my opinion. And he told us what happened, and yeah, but yeah, that figure point of doom, man. Like looking back at that, I was like, what were they thinking, man? Like they got complacent. Whew.
I think
And
that
then
even
then
with
you had to go
oh
ahead.
okay, it's like I feel like a little lag, like a little feedback. But I think that even with that, they could have rebounded with that. But it got to a point where creatively there were too many hands in the pot, and too many people that were too egotistical to to do what was needed for business, and that ultimately was what killed them. Especially like with Kevin Nash and Hulk and Russo and just all those different egos just being involved and everybody just wanting to be the man. I don't know. It seems like with wrestling, it has to be like a team effort, like not just like between the guys, but creative and just everybody working together in synergy. And WCW was more about me, 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 and that's what killed it.
Yeah, you're right about that. Too many hands in the pot in regards to creative, and also too many people looking out for themselves. Because you got Hall and Nash, but then you also got Mister That doesn't work for me, brother Hulk Hogan refusing certain things too, and and then you got Ric Flair, who's been a mainstay in WCW, and then you have all these other people who just don't want to play ball, and then you got the young guys, which in when I look back, I think they should have. There were several guys they should have invested in, like Rey Mysterio. You got Chris Jericho, Buff Bagwell was another one that should have been a world champion. You know, another guy who I'll say, and I'm going to die on this hill. Another guy that should have been a world champion was Rick Steiner. I think he could have been. He was the champion that should have been. And I would say if I had to choose out of Jeff Jarrett and Rick Steiner, I would go with Rick Steiner because he may not have been the best on the mic, but he wasn't that bad either. And it was certain they just the thing with WCW is they didn't invest in their future. They were
No,
looking at the now, but not okay. This person is clanging and banging, churning and burning. What can we do with them to bring new life into our country? They if they did, they barely looked at it.
I feel like
So
the only one that really got a chance to elevate was Booker T.
oh yeah. As a matter of fact, I heard that the reason why that came about, and for those of y'all listening, don't quote me on this. The reason why Booker T got that title was because of some sort of, I think it was a lawsuit in regards to racial discrimination that was brought on by Sonny Ono.
Hmm.
And so what I heard was that and like I said, this is all rumors. If anybody can correct me on this, I welcome it. This is what I heard. That the result of that, they scrambled, they pretty much decided, let's put the belt on Booker T, which in Booker T is not a charity case. We all know how great Booker T is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the reason why but I heard that's the reason why they scrambled to do that. But yeah, Booker T was the only one that actually, and Diamond Dallas Page too. Diamond Dallas Page, he was able to become something,
Oh yeah.
bigger out of that whole out of WCW. But when you look back at it, you got guys like Raven. Raven should have been a big thing.
Oh man, they wasted
Um,
Raven. Raven was so ahead of his time.
yeah, Raven should have been a big thing. You had Chris Jericho.
Yeah, let
You
him
had,
walk. The Radicals, everybody in the Radicals.
yeah, Shane Douglas. I mean,
Yes.
Benoit. Yeah, Benoit almost well, he won the title, but then all of a
And then
sudden
he
that's a reverse
bounced.
of the decision.
But it was too late for him. And then there was the Big Show, the Giant. He was champion, but he never was the same after he joined the NWO.
Yeah, yeah. He was one of the first to jump ship. He was like, I'm out of here, man. I'm gonna go to, you know, I'm gonna go to WB and whatnot. And it definitely, yeah, him and Jericho, like they were like the smart ones. They were like they jumped ship. They jumped that ship before it sank even further.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah. So I gotta ask you. So with AEW, right, the hottest thing since cooked food, the coolest thing since sliced bread. Do you see any similarities between AEW? Have you got, well, have you been able to go to an AEW show yet? That's the question.
Yeah, I
I should
actually
ask.
went to the one that was here last February before the pandemic started. It's a great
Cool,
time.
cool. So having that experience of attending a WCW show and the experience of attending an AEW show, have you would you say that there are a lot of similarities between the two or none at all?
Oh man. I would say that the atmosphere feels like WCW. Like it just kind of, I don't know, just being in that space and you seeing the TNT signs, and it felt like it, but the show itself was its own thing. It was definitely its own experience.
Cool. Yeah. That's yeah, because I've had like I think a couple people tell me that it felt kind of like WCW, but hopefully they learn from WCW's mistakes and don't go the route. I think they're on the great track because you just had Kenny Omega. He held the title for like a whole year, maybe
Hmm.
even more. And now you have Adam Page, who is not an ex WWE guy. Pretty
Yeah.
much, I wouldn't say he's AEW homegrown because I've known of him since Ring of Honor and New Japan. But
Isn't
now
he the
Adam
first
Page,
non A? Is he like the first non WWE guy to hold the championship
yeah, technically,
besides
because
Kenny
some
Omega?
people don't regard Kenny Omega as a well. Here's the thing about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, I think he was signed, and if anybody, like I said, anybody out there that can correct me, feel free to. I don't know everything, but I know he used to train with DSW, which was WWE's developmental territory. I believe he was signed to WWE on a developmental deal, but he never made it to the main roster because I remember there was a picture of him, another guy. I don't know if you remember this guy, KM, Kevin Matthews, who was in Impact. There was a
Hmm.
picture of the two of them along with Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder, and Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins. All four of them were in a picture. So I believe he made if he was on a WWE developmental deal, he was a former WWE guy, just that he never made it to the main roster. But
Yeah, he was.
Adam Page legitimately is the first non WWE guy that actually held that title, and hopefully they keep that up and start pushing more people that aren't WWE guys like Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I think he would make a great. I hope he doesn't go the route of Ted DiBiase and be like just a great heel because he would definitely be a great champion to a great heel to have as
Four pillars.
champion. And
The four pillars,
yeah,
definitely.
and then you have who's the other guy? Jungle Boy. He'd make another. He's another one too. So you just gotta wait and see. So now, so I just have like one more question. I know Rob is chomping at the bit to ask you a couple questions as well. So 2021 has ended. One more month. After Thanksgiving, it's December. That's it. Any plans? What are your plans for next year in regards to wrestling? Are you going to try to go to more shows? You know, go to more go to WrestleMania? Are you gonna I know you're also a podcaster. Like,
Yes.
what does JB versus the World have planned for 2022? You don't have to give us everything. Give us a little taste. I mean, because I don't want to put you on the spot.
Well, I usually talk wrestling on the podcast. If I'm going to do anything wrestling related, my show is more so about like more niche nerd things like movies and comics and TV shows and stuff like that. So I talk about wrestling when I can. Like I'll probably like cover something regarding WrestleMania. I did it this year, that and NXT, Stand and Deliver, because those were like around the same time. So definitely probably do something with that. We've had some plans for either going to WrestleMania or doing a watch party with my homies over at the BK Space Show. Shout out to BK and Nova. Um, Probably one of them. But if anything's here in town, like I'm gonna try and get there. Like easy.
Oh, that's definitely cool, man. So yeah, I definitely wish you all the best with your podcast and all that. We're podcasters here too, so we know how it is. Getting shows, putting shows together, and so on. And yeah, we wish you definitely nothing but the best and all that great stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Rob. I know Rob has a couple of questions. By the way, if you're a Marvel or a DC fan, he gonna ask you a bunch of questions about that, especially Star Wars. So But I'm gonna
I
let you
almost
go do
thought
your
it was
thing,
head.
Rob. Go ahead, Rob. Floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, man? How's everything going your way tonight?
What's going on, brother? Just another day in paradise.
I feel you. That's good. That's good, man. So y'all got that yeah, y'all haven't hit that winter weather yet, man. It ain't get down to like 30s and all yet down there.
Nah, this is Georgia, man. It probably won't hit 30 till like January, February.
Mm. Oh man, see, man, I wish I could get some weather like that here, man. I'm in Delaware, man. We had like the other night it was like 30 degrees, man, at night. And I'm like, oh, man, I turned the heat on, just bundle up. But then, we got this heat wave, it's going to be like 71 tomorrow. It's like 67 today. So I'm going to enjoy it
Nice.
while it lasts. So yeah, that's right. Now, you were talking about Taker, man. You watching the Taker casket match and stuff, man. I had to tell you a Taker story, man. Back, I was in like sixth grade, man. Undertaker came around my way. It was like a house show to the high school I went to. Well, my school district, and it was Undertaker versus Kevin Diesel in a casket match. So
Okay.
Undertaker won the casket match, and all that stuff, and all of us kids were like, "Yo, let's go on out back and all see if we can see the Undertaker leaving and all this stuff, trying to us." So we all ran out back and we're all waiting at the parking lot. Him and Paul Bear come running out and come walking out, arguing over who had the last of the vodka. Whole way there, I had the last of it. You were one to drink. I left it right here. We were like, oh, man, that's awesome. That's why he feels no pain. You know what I mean? Like, so from then on out, I was like, that's why Taker don't feel no pain. He takes that vodka. He's like, that's right. It was also pretty cool, man, because Kevin Nash was I guess he had a rent a car, he had a Camaro, and he's so tall that, like he was almost like Hightower in Police Academy, man, where he's like sitting in the back seat and his knees were kind of up on his chest, man. It was like because he had to drive to the hospital because Taker, busted him open, he had to get stitches and all that stuff. Yeah, man, it was pretty cool.
That's nice. That's an awesome story.
Oh yeah, I know, man, the Taker story. Uh, But man, you were talking about, man, you got to see Goldberg win that belt, man. I remember watching that night, man, when you did that to Hogan. Just like, man, were you one of the people that threw some of the streamers in and all that?
Nah, man, we were sitting up. All right, so my pops always got us the high cheap seats, but we always move down.
Hmm.
And so we were up high for like the first hour of the show, but then we eventually moved down. But we were still like super far. So even if I threw something, like I'm like
Mm.
8, 9, 10 at this age. So well, I'm probably like 10, 11, maybe. I don't know, somewhere in that range. But nah, I didn't throw anything. I was super nervous because I was standing up, but the building was shaking.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I can't imagine that, man. I remember watching it that night, man. Just like, oh man, I can imagine it was shaking, man. I'm here. I was in Delaware watching it. You know what I mean? I probably feel the building shaking from there, man. It was like, woo. You know what I mean? Goldberg doing it.
Man, that place went nuts.
I remember one time watching, I was like, man, I remember Goldberg, Jack Hammer, and the Big Show, man. We used the Giant back then, man.
Mhm.
Picking the Big Show up, just boom. I'm like, ah, man, that's why, man, it makes me so sad when I see Goldberg come out now. I'm like, oh man, he can barely do it to anybody. Oh, you did that to the Big Show. Come on, man.
Man, and Goldberg was
Oh,
always like second, third favorite to me in WCW. So it's difficult seeing how he is now.
yeah, yeah. I don't like how they put him in the title pictures, man. I'm like, I'm cool if they bring him in just to like, fight somebody, whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, I'm gonna get a shot at the belt and all. I'm like, slow down, Goldberg. Yeah, you good? You know, you had your shot, man. You're
Yeah.
180 and 0, man. You had the thing, you got the streak, man. So I gotta ask, man. Like, what have you watched any of that Dark Side of the Ring? Have you got to catch any of that on Vice? Those documentaries?
Man, I've only seen a couple of episodes of those. The last one I watched was that Ric Flair one because people were talking about that. The Flight from Hell.
Oh yeah.
Because of course, like you've always heard about it. You know what I'm saying? So just having them actually talk about it and what was going on. And I've kind of been iffy on Ric Flair for a couple of years now. So just seeing like an opportunity to be like the stamp what I thought, I'm like, oh yeah, he's trash. Okay, got it now.
That's right. Yeah, I've been hearing those stories too, man. I'm like, ah, man, he was my favorite growing up too. It's like, man, what in the world, man? Come on. No, man, I hate when that stuff happens. It's like, man, now I gotta retake my childhood. Come on.
Exactly.
It's like, be better, people. Be better, man. God, man. God. Luckily, we were in a new age, man. Everybody's doing better and stuff, man. Like, happy to see it, man. So, so, man, you got a lot of indie shows around your way, man. Do you go to a lot of them?
Man,
And so, what are your favorite ones?
I actually have not gone to any indie shows around here. I didn't realize that the indie scene around Atlanta was that lit until like a couple of years back. But by then you do adulting, then the pandemic started, so didn't really get a chance to hit it like that. But I've been hearing about it more and more since like 2018 about how awesome it is. I think Heath Slater has a school somewhere around here too.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, man. Yeah. They got a lot of people and stuff, man. I know, yeah, like Nightmare Factory and all, man. Renegade Twins and all that, man. To go tearing it up everywhere, woo. Oh man, they got everybody. So I did want to ask, man. Did you get to see that Spider-Man trailer last night? I don't know if you got to check it out yet.
I did, and I recorded my reaction. That's going to be up on my channel pretty soon.
Okay. Okay, so I was going to ask what you thought about it, man. So I won't spoil it, man. So you can tune into your channel, man, and go check out your thing, man. So I was going to ask about it, but yeah. Now,
Um,
I'm just going to say I'm excited for it, man. From what I seen, I'm excited for that movie, man. I'm ready for it, man. I just watched on Shang-Chi on Disney Plus, man. That
it was
movie was
great.
it was dope, man. I was like, it's like one of those ones like I didn't know much about Black Panther. I didn't know much about Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't know much about him, but those movies are like they're like my favorites and stuff, man. They come out I'm like, man, these guys are awesome.
They changed a lot about the Shang-Chi property before they put it on there, but it's one of those like, unless you're like really in the know, that they can
Hmm.
afford to make those changes and bring in a new audience and just introduce the people to the character. They did the same thing with the Eternals. They changed a lot of the Eternals up, but unlike the Eternals, my review's up on the channel too if you want to check that out. Shang-Chi was amazing. Like
Hmm.
I love representation. I love when it's done well. I love when people get their just due, and I thought it was very well done, and it didn't fall into a lot of those same Marvel cliches. It was its own thing. It was done wonderfully. The cinematography is great, and the best fight scenes in Marvel without like beams in the sky or CGI fights.
Yeah.
It was just great.
Oh yeah, man. I was like, yeah, that is awesome, man. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see Phase 4, 5, and 6, man, and what they bring, man. I'm excited. I haven't
Oh
seen the
yeah,
Eternals yet, though. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I'm going to, man.
yeah.
I mean, I got to, man, just so I'm caught up, man, because they always got these bonus scenes I gotta watch. Okay, like this is coming up and all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's worth the watch. I mean it's still a Marvel property, and it's I felt like the Eternals was a little bloated and
Hmm.
a little bit too ambitious considering like what it was. If it was a standalone thing, there was no Marvel, nothing, whatever. I would have thought it a little bit better. But since it's set in the MCU and all things considered, what the MCU is, what it was, and how so far this phase has been about shifting the status quo altogether. And that's all they've done is shift. Change the status quo. Change the status quo. We got new Captain America. We got the TVA. We got a new big bad in Kane the Conqueror. We got a new Black Widow. We're gonna get a new Hawkeye. Like everything is just a shift, and I'm kind of tired of it. I'm kind of tired of it. Give me something stable. Move forward with these new changes. We know what's a brave new world, and I feel like Spider-Man is gonna be like that first step in that direction.
Yeah, I'm also excited, man. I heard Blade. I heard they're getting ready to start filming, or they're it's almost done, or they're getting ready to do whatever. I'm ready to see that, man. I want to see Home Dude play Blade, man, because I love Blade back in the day. Wesley Snipes was the man, like I want to see how he can do.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali is like such a fantastic actor, and he was great as Cottonmouth on Luke Cage,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was awesome in the Green Book. Like I don't think that man has missed in anything I've ever seen him do.
Man, I was upset that he got on the Luke Cage thing. He was only in like 5, 6 episodes, and halfway through he was done. I was like, "Are you serious?" He was like my favorite part of the show, man. Like, oh man. All right, man. Come on. All right.
Yeah, it was kind of disappointing, but um, I'm forgetting her name. Oh my god, I love her as an actress. She was Mariah, the
Oh
actress
yeah,
herself. Oh man, that's gonna kill me. But she is fantastic, and she carried it. She took the ball and ran with it. And I don't think Luke Cage season one could have been as good without her taking over because it needed to happen.
that's right. I did see on I think it was Twitter, it was trending Daredevil and all. I was like, oh snap, Daredevil's trending. I was like, oh, and it was like Home Dude was gonna take it. I was like, oh man, it was like, oh, it was fake. I was like, come on, internet man, why you gotta do that to me, man? I was like, man, he was pretty good as Daredevil. I liked him, man. That was pretty good. I liked the Daredevil seasons.
Oh yeah, Charlie Cox is Daredevil. It's one of those few roles that you can think of like, oh, that's that guy. Like he's it. Charlie Cox is Daredevil. Matt Ryan is Constantine. Chris Evans is Captain America. RDJ is Tony Stark. Like it's just some of those roles that that's just them. That's
Yeah,
just who they are.
yeah, it was just perfect casting, man. It's just
Yeah.
that's right. So you said you like like Star Wars and stuff, man. The Obi-Wan it's coming up. Is it this month, end of this month, or is it December, end of December?
I believe it's either later next month or early next year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. They're showing stuff where what's his name? The dude that played Darth Vader, Anakin in the prequels, man, is gonna be
Hayden
in it. I guess
Christensen.
their little flashbacks. I was like, ooh, okay. I wonder how they're gonna do that. You know what I mean? Maybe little fight scenes or whatever. It's like, okay.
They said something about like a potential fight scene between like Vader and Obi-Wan. So they leaked like some sort of like a test board, an artist board of it. So maybe they do it, maybe they don't. I don't think they should.
Yeah,
Like leave what happened on Mustafar as the last time they saw each other before episode 4.
that's right. Isn't it crazy? Like I was watching, it in order, like episode one, two, three, and you get all those awesome, lightsaber scenes. Then you get Rogue One. I mean Vader at the end. He's tearing everyone up, and then the next lightsaber scene you see is A New Hope from the first one they made in the '70s, and him and Obi Wan are just like, I was like, oh man, okay, okay, I get it, all right, yeah, but oh man, yeah, it's funny. Have you ever noticed that, man? It's like,
It's just one of those things you just gotta accept.
yeah,
But that first
yeah,
movie, A New Hope, is about as perfect of a sci-fi movie as it gets. Like the only, and it's my second, third favorite in the entire franchise. Empire Strikes Back is number one, but A New Hope is like right there.
yeah.
So good.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I did. Man, I love Rogue One, man. I thought that's one of my favorites, man. Like people were like, man, it's too dark. Didn't really. I was like, I liked it, man. Like I thought it was pretty good, man. That dude, what's his name, Donnie Yen or whatever. He's like, I am one with the Force. The Force is with me. He's just doing that
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, I liked him, man. He's awesome. I was like, it man, he's gonna tear it up.
I love Donnie Yen, but I gotta defer with you, man. On this one, I didn't like Rogue One that much. Like I just
Mm,
didn't. And it's not because I didn't think it was good. It's just that I thought like one of my big thing is, and this is what draws me to wrestling, is I like characters. I like
mhm.
character development. I like character motivations. And I felt like with Rogue One, they tossed in all these characters, and I'm like, dude, first of all, they're all gonna die. Like we know
Yeah.
from the jump, like this is not gonna end well for either one of them. And then you want me to be invested in their journey and stuff like that. And it's like I don't see a reason to get attached to them because they're gonna get blown to hell here in about 2.5 seconds. So and
Hmm.
that's exactly what eventually did happen. But Donnie Yen's character was cool. I liked his relationship with his partner. I just wish them characters were still alive so they could have expounded more or done more. Um, that the fight though, like the final fight, the Battle of Scarif was
Hmm.
amazing, and now I was kind of in and out of that movie, but I was all the way in for that whole thing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
before the Vader scene, the Vader scene was just, but
Hmm.
everything before then, the Hammerhead Corvette in space, just uh, so good stuff. But on
That's
the
right. That's
overall
right.
on the
Yeah.
movie itself, I skipped to that part.
Yeah, yeah, man. The one man I really didn't like was the last two that they made, man. The one what was it, Force Awakens?
The
That
Force,
whole casino scene, man. I was like, why did they should have cut that whole part
you
out? And
mean the
oh,
Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker?
yeah, yeah, that one, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, man, that casino scene. I was like, And then the thing with him and Ray, I was like, oh my lord, okay, where'd they go with this, man? They got okay, whatever. I
I
let him do the thing.
actually, I'm actually okay with The Last Jedi. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. Star Wars is about defying expectations, um, doing the unexpected, and I feel like with The Last Jedi, that's what it did. And the narrative wasn't bad. Was it exciting? No. Was it great? No. But it was a solid narrative. Like Luke told you from the beginning, I'm not gonna just jump in front of a bunch of ships and pull out a laser sword and take down
Yeah,
everybody. And he didn't do it. Like he went there in spirit. He did what he had to do, and his sacrifice sparked a rebellion. Like he's legend,
hmm
and it was a long time. Like me going back and forth with that because Luke is my favorite Star Wars character, hands down. It's Luke then Anakin for me, and seeing him die had me kind of but it made sense. Luke was always a dreamer. Luke was always tied to what he felt was right. And when the Jedi fell and he felt it was his fault, it made sense that the dreamer isolated himself ways deep in his emotions. So yeah, I was okay with it. Now the Rise of Skywalker, I thought was I initially like was okay with it in theater, but after watching it again, I didn't like it. I think I'm with you on that. I thought it was trash. I thought it was a giant walk back. I felt like if they committed to the path that they started on with the Last Jedi, it could have been okay. The whole saga was built up for Kylo Ren to be the final boss, or either to die or to be redeemed or death by redemption. That's what the whole thing was set up to be, him versus Rey. And I love that Rey was a nobody in The Last Jedi. Like, why can't the Force just be strong with somebody and then they just rise up to take down somebody? Why does a particular bloodline have to be so special that nobody else matters unless you're a Palpatine? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I hated that they did that. And I just hope that going forward, if they go like with the High Republic or whatever projects they do after that, then it feels like Star Wars again. It feels fun again. It tells a good story, and they didn't do that with the Rise of Skywalker, and it's a letdown in hindsight.
that's right. Now, do you think with the Mandalorian, do you think they're splitting it up in two, or with the child, one way and Mando the other, or are they gonna, keep it all together, man?
Oh man, the show's called The Mandalorian, not The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. So, um, if they're gonna write him off, then write him off. But I don't think they will. I don't think it's gonna last. I think Grogu eventually finds a way back to the Mandalorian, and they continue on their adventures as pseudo father and son, because that's what's
That's right.
best for business.
That's right. Now I need to go back and watch episode 3 where Anakin where he snatches and kills all the younglings. Because I was like, yo, Baby Yoda was there, man. Like, who threw him under the bed or hit him in the closet, man? Somebody did. I got to look in the background trying to see if he's there or something, man. Shit,
Man,
you know how they do? They might add him in.
they're like, this is looking crazy over here. Let me get out of here.
That's right. He was like, nope. And you find out he's like 50, 60, 70 years old. Like, oh, all right.
Yeah. So he had to be like 30 then.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. So before I pass it on back to Remy, man, I was gonna say, man, did you get to see the AEW pay per view? If you did, man, what'd you think of it?
Yes. I actually I didn't watch it live. I've been watching it kind of periodically over the last couple of days, and I thought it was a really good show. I thought that the endings to a lot of the matches were kind of just there. They didn't feel like the ending to a story, to a narrative that they were trying to tell. It was just like, oh, it's over. Oh, okay, that's cool. My favorite ending is Darby Allin and MJF. That is like hands down my favorite one of the night. Um, I thought the 6-man tag with the Super Click versus Jurassic Express and Christian was really good. Um, Hangman and Kenny Omega was also really good. But again, I thought the ending was kind of eh ish. Like not the celebration, but going into it because Kenny was down for a long time. I'm like, man, he was up and then he's down and he's up. You the best bout machine, right? You want to be the best up machine. You want to stand up a little bit, a little quicker. But um, I thought the women's match could have been better. Britt Baker is really, really good. I think Ty Conti isn't that great yet. I liked her NXT. I like her now. I just don't think that she's on Britt's level. But I think she can
Yeah,
get
yeah,
there.
yeah. Britt Baker. Yeah, she's real good. You know what I mean? Yeah, Thunder Rosa. I'm hoping she gets that TBS title. I mean, is she still in that title picture of that tournament? I don't know if she's lost yet.
Yeah, she's in it. She's got a
Oh, she's
match
still in it.
on Friday.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, I'm pulling
Jamie
for her
Hayter.
to win it. I'm pulling for her to win it, and if not, you know what I mean, I'm hoping Thunder's the one that ends Britt Baker's, title reign, you know what I mean? Because that was one of my favorite feuds last year, man. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, man, because man, every time I watch AEW, second Britt Baker, match was done, Thunder Rosa was out and on her ass like in .2 seconds, man. She didn't get time to be like, yeah, raise the hands, like, nope, come on, bam, bam. It's like, yeah, this is what you're supposed to do, you know what I mean? When you hate somebody, that's what you're gonna do when you hate somebody, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna let them like, oh yeah, like nah, boom, you know what I mean?
I cannot tell you how much I love Thunder Rosa. I
Oh
cannot
yes.
tell you. She's so great. It's like, man, between her and Britt, it's like, this is the lights out match they had was just so
Mm.
good. So good. One of my favorite women's matches in recent memory. And it just
Oh
like I see
yeah.
that, I take that example and I'm like, why don't they give more women more opportunities like that in AEW? Why don't they give
Hmm.
them more time? Why don't they give them more to do? Because you got such a great roster. You got Nyla, you got Hikaru, you got
Hmm.
Jade, and Red Velvet's getting better on a week to week. You've got Ruby. You've got enough there to do something more. Like, and they're growing, and people aren't really seeing it like that. Like Penelope Ford from day one to Penelope Ford now, like the growth is there, and we don't really get to see it. And not everybody watches Elevation. Like some people don't. Just give the women more time. Women's wrestling is so dope, and women's wrestling could be way more doper if you just give them the opportunity. And I give and people and Craig knock WWE for a lot of things, but at least when they want to and when they can't, they give the women time and they put out like bangers. Just give the women more time, please.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. It was like back in the day, you know what I mean? It was like yeah, all the women are wrestling, you know what I mean? Oh, pee break. Now it's like Kathy, our co-host Kathy the other day was saying, it's like now sometimes the men come on, it's like, oh, this is where I'm going to the bathroom. The women are coming up next, and I ain't missing this match, you know what I mean? So I'm going to the bathroom now, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And women's wrestling is just as dope, if not doper, than the dudes, especially when they allow them to shine, when you give them opportunities. Like,
Hmm.
man, and that's one thing that NXT 1.0 never missed on was doing right by the women. They had arguably the best women's division in North America or this hemisphere, really. Like, oh my God. Like, I can't even begin to tell you, like, Asuka Ember,
Mm.
um, Shayna and Cardi, or Sasha Bailey. That was an easy one to pull from, but that just set the bar for that, or rather, it raised the bar for women's wrestling for this era, for this generation. Whew, it's just so many women's matches that are just so good, and there's so many women out there that are good and are better and are not as good as what we know because they haven't had the opportunity to display how good they are. Let them show it.
That's right. Yeah, because I'm reffing off for 1CW, and our sister promotion is CCW, and
Okay.
those girls there, they tear it up. You know what I mean? I sit right backstage. You know what I mean? I be at the monitor. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, woo! You know what I mean? Yeah, they get it. They get down. It ain't none of that. Oh yeah, no, no, yeah, they tearing it up. You know what I mean? Oh man, CCW, man, you definitely gotta check them out. If you
Oh yeah.
haven't. Oh yeah, they tear it up, man. Just woo. Plus, meeting them backstage, man, they're so cool and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. I remember meeting Max the Impaler and stuff, man. I was like,
Okay.
I was kind of scared of meeting, and then just, yeah, they were cool. They were cool. But yeah, man. I do want to say before I pass it on that back to Remy, man. I want to say, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Come on, chat with us, man. I definitely had a blast. Man, I wish you nothing but the best with your podcast, and everything you do, man. I hope you start kicking butt and doing all that good stuff, man. I wish nothing
Man, I
but positive
appreciate
things
it.
to you and your family.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that a lot. And it's
Yeah,
been
no
fun.
problem, man.
This has been really fun so far.
All right. Yeah, no problem, man. I definitely had a
Definitely
blast.
had a blast.
Yeah, JB, thanks for coming back on the show. You're a busy man and you got a lot of things going on, but I appreciate you. We appreciate taking time out just shoot the breeze about wrestling and other types of fandom and so on, Star Wars. I shoot the way y'all talk. I gotta go and do a whole marathon on Star Wars, starting with the Han Solo story and then episode 1, 2, 3, Rogue One, and then 4, 5, and 6, or I think it's the Mandalorian, then 4, 5, and 6, and then the last three and whatnot. It's going to be a lot, but hey, I'll make it happen eventually. But yeah, thanks for actually coming back on the show and just shooting the breeze with us. Really appreciate it. Before we shut the show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling or Star Wars or Marvel and DC or when they want? Where can they find your podcast at?
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
You
for sure.
can
You can
right down here,
write
JB
down
versus the
here, JB
world.
versus the world.
You can find me there
You can
on
find me there on
Instagram,
Instagram,
YouTube,
YouTube,
and Facebook.
and Facebook.
You can find me on
You can
Twitter at
find me on Twitter
JBV
at
the world because
JB the
versus is
World
just
because
too long
versus
for
just too
Twitter.
long for Twitter.
And you can
And
find
you can find
everything of me at my
everything of
central
me
hub
at
at
my central hub at
JBVersustheworld.com.
JBVersusTheWorld.com. Awesome. Awesome. That's cool. See, I'll definitely give this man a follow. He's doing great things and whatnot. So yeah, man. I mean, we always say, um, check out other podcasts besides. I mean, still listen to us, but check out other podcasts as well because you never know what you might hear. You might get a differing opinion on certain things and whatnot. Like the Adam Page finally winning the big one. People were like, "Yeah, it was perfectly done." Some people were like, "Well, why did it take so long?" and all that stuff. So I always say, man. I mean, I listen to other podcasts too, and we won't feel anything at all. I mean, like I always say it's like eating a different cereal every morning. I mean, one morning you wake up, you get some Frosted Flakes. Next morning you might want you get some Captain Crunch. Next morning you might want some Wheaties because you finna exercise and whatnot. So definitely check him out, man. And he's definitely doing great things. And he has a cool shirt. He has merch too, man. I mean, the JB versus shirt. That shirt looks cool, man. You know what I'm saying? So, and they can find out on your website, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I got more stuff
Absolutely. I got
coming,
more
like
stuff coming,
hoodies,
like hoodies,
like beanies.
like beanies.
Fellas, protect your
Fellas,
hoodies this
protect your
winter.
hoodies this winter.
Like all that.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah, man. Definitely check them out. But with that being said, it's about time for us to shut down this show. It's time for me to actually get some sleep because I've been running on like 0 hours of sleep all day. But hey, that's the life. It is what it is. So with that being said, Rob Bass, the Sean Spence to my Burton Gus, to the Eminem to my Royce the 5'9", and the Lieutenant Riggs to my Lieutenant Murtoff. Where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling, purchase Rob Bass merchandise? And where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
All right, you can find me on
Find me on
Twitter,
Twitter.
Instagram, and Twitch, Rob_Base82, and then Facebook, YouTube, Rob Base.
Cool. And if you want to find me on social media, not that I have anything interesting to say these days, but who knows? Maybe you'll get lucky. You could find me on Twitter under at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. It's a picture of me at WrestleMania 28. You can also find our podcast on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram under at Ringside Society. We have a Facebook group called Ringside Society. We're also on Spotify, and we're also on Twitch at Ringside Society 2019, and we're also on YouTube, which is where we have a lot of our interviews like this one. We stream a lot of interviews like this one. We had our recent AEW Full Gear 2021 predictions show. You could check that out. We just had Aaron Mercer. You could check out that interview. We also had his opponent that's going to be this weekend, Prince Adam. We had him on the show as well too. You can check out that interview. when you type in Ringside Society and you see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it, that's us. So go ahead and subscribe. Don't personalize it. Subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot more cool stuff coming, and we got a lot more cool interviews from the past as well with many other people like Anakin Rosa, who's Thunder Rosa's son, and Jasmine Allure, Antonio San Francisco, and many other people. So definitely check us out, man. And we also have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts, we have tank tops for the warm weather, we have long sleeve shirts for the winter coming up, and hoodies in all different colors. And we also have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. So definitely check us out. All proceeds from those sales go back into keeping this show afloat. But with that being said, I just want to make a few announcements. First off, Ella J and Samira, welcome to CCW. The announcement was made. You two women are now a part of the commentary team for CCW. And for those of y'all that don't know, if you watched Empower, they were the two young ladies that actually did Melina's entrance. They were the paparazzi, and now they're part of the commentary team for CCW. So congratulations on that. If you are in Dallas, Texas, check out Lucha Brutal, Make It Double. That's a great show to check out. If you're in is it Elks Lodge or Elk Forest? If you're in the Sacramento area, the NorCal area, check out Supreme Pro Wrestling. They have a show this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, and it's called Still Hungry. Definitely check that out. You'll see people like Midas Creed and Drake Frost, and then also there is Mission Pro Wrestling in I don't know what part of Texas it's in, but Mission Pro Wrestling has a show this weekend. Definitely check them out. They're doing great things. Shout out to Brian Cervantes, Thunder Rosa, Jeremiah Wilkinson, and the gang over there as well. So, with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. We really and truly appreciate it. It means a lot to us. To those of y'all that are going to listen to us later on, thank you very much in advance. And those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself at a Gordon Corral and Rob Bass at a taco festival, we ain't going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we ain't stopping. So with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we here at Ringside Society understand that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. Hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for ATL, Georgia's own JB versus the world.
Woo!
What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And we will be back tomorrow with another impressive guest. But until then, y'all stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.